I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different, and every breakup is different. Work with me, and you'll get professional help on your situation. Just click on the link in the description below, or go to my website, askcraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And today we're going to be talking about I'm afraid to go no contact.
Yes, many people are afraid to go no contact.
Absolutely. So if you're going through a breakup and you're confused, you're trying to figure out what to do, how to navigate, one of the things you're going to hear a lot of people say is go no contact. Obviously, everybody has their own version of what no contact is, but fortunately, you're on the channel where we explain it correctly.
Yes, and in detail. And frequently.
Yes. So, no contact is simply when someone ends your relationship, you no longer reach out to them. You respect their wishes and their decision, and you move forward. Okay? You don't chase after somebody that is ending your relationship, because you need to show that you have respect for yourself and you value yourself. But making that decision and going no contact and deciding no longer reaching out is the best option is terrifying.
Yes, absolutely.
And Margaret and I decided to use our little therapist brains,
yes,
and put together some really good understanding of why it's so scary. Okay? So we really looked at the internal mechanisms of how we operate and how we
so to see ourselves as human beings.
Yeah, and in our relationships with our caregivers, and why it's so scary to go.
Frightening, right.
Yeah,
Why
okay.
does it make everybody terrified, panic-stricken, and not feeling good at all?
One of the first points that we want to discuss is that you're afraid they'll forget you.
And that seems to be a very universal fear.
Yes.
Sort of like if I don't keep in touch with my partner, that person will very quickly forget me. What I look like, what my voice sounds like, apparently. And I don't think that most people are that forgettable, do you?
No, absolutely not. And one of the things that we were looking at, and we really think, is that this has to do with your relationship to your parents, and how you likely felt invisible in your childhood.
And that can happen. We were just talking about that. Suppose you're born into a good-sized family where there are several children, and there's a lot of activity in the household, and you're kind of new to the scene, and you're little, and you have needs, and it's not easy to make more noise than everybody else around you who's bigger to make your needs known. It can be very difficult. And you can end up sort of feeling like nobody notices that you're there.
Yeah. Nobody's been attentive to you.
No.
Nobody's made you a priority, or you didn't feel like anybody really cared about your existence. And that is directly correlated to why you feel like your partner won't realize,
Right.
your ex won't realize if you're gone.
And then you'll be alone again, just like you were when you were a little kid, with nobody hearing you, probably trying to think of some new way you could make noise so someone would notice.
So you gotta really think about your relationship in your family and with your parents, and if they didn't make you feel very loved, if you have a hard time hearing your mom's voice or your dad's voice, even as an adult, it could mean that you had a really difficult time bonding with them.
Bonding, relating, and really feeling part of the family.
Yeah.
Or part of the relationship. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And when we thought about that, that's a terrible state of affairs. We want everybody to feel worthy of love and worthy of being cared for and worthy of even being noticed.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because you probably don't feel like people really value you.
Yeah.
That's a big point.
Yes, it is. Right.
If you don't really see yourself as a valuable person and don't have a good, healthy self-esteem, you're going to feel like your ex isn't going to miss you if you go no contact.
Right. And you're going to learn, you're going to lose what definition of self you had. Without this person, I think you can also feel like, without this person, at least with him or her, I had some sense of identity and somebody listened to me, but now there's going to be nobody again.
Yeah.
So it can make you feel abandoned all over again.
And that's terrifying.
Yes, it is.
Right? Because
there's nothing more terrifying.
No, because human beings use our relationships with others to feel safe.
Right.
So if you don't have your partner, you no longer feel safe.
Right.
And depending upon your ability to be alone is going to impact that, right?
Absolutely. If you're comfortable being alone, you're in much better shape than if it's very painful for you.
Absolutely. And so you got to remind yourself that you are important and that people do value you and care about you.
And probably if you stop to think about it, there are people in your family, there are people that you work with, there are people that you know socially who probably do value you. But right at that moment when you're breaking up and you're not going to have contact, boy, it doesn't feel that way.
No, it really
No.
doesn't.
No.
But the more afraid you are that, going no contact will mean you'll never hear from them again, it probably equals the amount of fear you had in your childhood that nobody really loved you, was caring for you, would be there for you.
Or even knew you were there
Or
some days and sometimes.
But there's a direct correlation.
Yes.
How you're feeling now about no longer reaching out and fearing that somebody will forget about you or not care about you is directly related to how you felt when that happened to you as a child.
And as a result, you could end up pressuring the person who broke up with you in your panic, and that doesn't help you either.
And one of the other things that is another reason you might be terrified of going no contact is because in your childhood, you might have had the responsibility of constantly repairing that relationship with your caregiver. You might have felt all the obligation to, I have to fix this, I have to repair this. If it's got to be me or it won't get done. And so now you're terrified that you got to do the same thing with
If
your
I don't do it, it won't
ex.
get done, it won't happen. Right.
That's right.
And I was sharing with Coach Craig, recently I had a man who said that as he thought about this whole experience of breaking up that he was going through, he realized that he was the peacemaker in his family.
Yeah.
So that's exactly as you had speculated, that he was thinking that it was upon him to repair the situation. And believe me, if you knew the situation, you'd agree that no, it was not his job to do it in this case. And how wonderful that he was able to be aware of it.
Yeah. And one other thing that we think is a main reason that you're probably scared to go no contact is that you're really sad and you're just flat out scared that you're never going to talk to them again.
Right.
Right?
Right?
It's sad to think that you may never see this person again.
Whom you've loved and spent time with, and
Many cases you guys feel like it's your best friend.
Sure.
Or was your best friend and that you're never going to see them again. And you still value them, but right now it doesn't seem like they're valuing you. And so that's really sad.
it's very hurtful. It's very hurtful. I think that's what we've heard from numerous people, that to be ignored is very, very painful.
So it's normal to feel sad and scared to go no contact and no longer reach out to an ex. And we totally understand it. And what you really want to think about is the level of fear that you have. If the level of fear that you have is very, very high, you got to really look at the relationship with your caregivers because it's directly correlated.
Yes, and it will remind you that you're not going crazy, that this makes sense somehow.
Yeah, that's true. Because once you start to see the correlation between the present and your relationships
Yes.
in the present with your past, you can start to put the pieces of the puzzle together.
And it makes more sense. It's less confusing and befuddling, and yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So hopefully this helps you guys understand maybe what that fear is coming from or why you're feeling so terrified to no longer reach out.
Right.
So when you want to get our help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net, sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching, I do Skype coaching, and if you got to get with me right away, I do offer emergency Skype coaching. Margaret is also available.
I do too. I am available, and thank you so much for those of you who have signed up to talk with me. Please continue.
But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And we will talk with you soon.
Hi, I'm Coach Margaret, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist with 35 years experience. Every relationship is different, and every breakup is different. Work with me to get professional help on your situation. Go to askcraig.net to sign up for a personal coaching with me.